Well, welcome to Monday Morning Facebook Live. And we're going to have to start doing this every Monday. In fact, we're kind of launching something unique. We're going to go up Facebook Live on Mondays and Fridays. And every Monday, I'm going to come and tell you what we need, what we are trying to accomplish, and what we're doing in order to meet the needs of our local communities and what's going on in those communities. And then on Fridays, we're going to show you pictures and videos and talk about what we've been able to accomplish in our work in the course of a few days. So you're going to see your money that you give to help us keep people from starving given on Monday and actually feeding somebody before Friday, halfway around the world. You're going to see it take place. You're going to experience it happening. And you know, what I woke up to this weekend was a message that the United Nations is saying that the pandemic link to malnutrition is killing 10,000 more children a month than were dying of starvation last year this time. 10,000 more people a month are dying of starvation. No, children. 10,000 children a month are dying that weren't dying last year simply because we panicked over a pandemic. Okay? You're going to see reports. This thing has been so overblown and so blown out of proportion. I predicted it at the beginning. You're starting to see it now that the tests coming back were faulty and that the positive results were not anywhere close to what they were saying. And so these 10,000 children are needlessly dying of malnutrition because we've broken our food chain. We've broken the food delivery system. We broke it here in America. Yes, you see groceries in your grocery store, but prices are going to go up. Things are happening. You don't see near the selection that you used to see, particularly in the meats and dairy section. You're starting to see some real understanding that, hey, toilet paper can disappear. If toilet paper can disappear, and we make some of the best toilet paper in the whole world. In fact, we make the best toilet paper in the whole world. Trust me, I've been to almost 100 countries. I know. Our toilet paper rocks. And it was gone. You know, people out panicking because they can't get toilet paper. And so what is happening is not only do I have this news coming in that 10,000 more children a month are dying right now than they were a year ago because of hunger. I also have Pastor William communicating to me that there are members of the church in Lutembe who are saying to him, we are starving now, Pastor. We're going without food. Our children are hungry. They don't have any food. And it breaks my heart. And to be honest with you, last week is an extremely tough week. It wrapped up about 6 weeks of really struggling in our work. I can't give what we don't have. And in fact, to be honest with you, Bess and I gave our loan, the ministry, $11,000 in about a 10-day period of time just to move things forward, keep everything from a completely panicked situation. It's all we had. We can't do any more. We can't keep loaning the ministry money. We can't keep giving the ministry money. And we said this. I said it publicly on Facebook. And some of our friends, a couple of our friends, responded very generously. And so tomorrow we're going to be able to wire money to Uganda to buy some food that will last maybe 4 days. Did you hear that? 4 or 5 days. The money we send to Uganda tomorrow will last 4 or 5 days in food for the people who get it. This isn't ministering to the entire community, folks. This is taking care of our church members, taking care of orphans, taking care of widows, taking care of the most abused in the community first. And that food will will probably make it into about 150 homes. But that's it. Can you imagine feeding 150 people? And this is driven home. Look, this solution is a Band-Aid, okay? You put the Band-Aid on, it's very temporary, it falls off eventually, or you pull it off, and it's only for limited purposes. You only use a Band-Aid for limited purposes. Thank God there are Band-Aids, because sometimes you need Band-Aids, but they're not permanent solutions to fix an issue, particularly a big issue. You know, you need stitches, or you need surgery. There are problems that cannot be solved with a Band-Aid. This that I'm talking about is a Band-Aid. It is keeping people from dying, yes, but it's a temporary solution, and we have some long-term solutions that we want to implement, and we've started to implement. But if you understand that the world faces unprecedented hunger since the onset of this China virus pandemic, food insecurity has increased worldwide. Every country we are working in is facing issues with food. We're desperately trying just to keep our pantries full in our work. And this is particularly true. This food insecurity is hitting households with young children in a far greater way, because, you know, young kids and older kids are hard to keep fed. And the COVID-19 has already left too many children hungry, or on the verge of, and I hate to say this, man, it's really hard for me to say, but kids are starving to death. You know, I never liked those commercials with the little kid with the stomach bloated out and flies on them, and I thought it was just an overreach. Yeah, it was a reality, but man, isn't there a better way to communicate it? And so I'm trying to communicate this in a better way than showing you some little kid with a distended belly and flies on its face. But we're facing starvation of children. We're facing people with empty pantries. We're facing, it's very difficult to tell someone that God loves them and that Jesus wants to redeem them if their belly is empty, if they have no food. And so, you know, they're starving while these countries are competing for foreign aid dollars from the World Health Organization, from central banks, and they're competing for these World Health dollars. Uganda is competing. They want $5 billion. They set the goal at the beginning of the pandemic, at the very beginning of the pandemic, to get $5 billion of foreign aid money, and they didn't care what they did to their people. They didn't care how they treated their people. They didn't care what happened to their people. There's almost no COVID-19 in Uganda. Why? Because they take hydroxychloroquine on a regular basis, many of them for prevention of malaria. Hydroxychloroquine flows like water in Uganda, and rightfully so. And I've taken it at least 4 times personally, and you've got this $20 cure for this disease that has essentially been banned in our country and other countries. It's not only a cure, it's a preventative. You know, you can't get quinine over the counter anymore. Why? I don't know. You can make your own out of grapefruit peels, but that's a hassle. You need to know, if you're buying tonic water to get quinine, that you have to buy a tonic water that actually has quinine in it, not just flavored to taste like quinine. So you have quinine, you have zinc, you have hydroxychloroquine. All those provide preventative measures, and also they help with therapy, particularly if you take it early on with this issue. And yet so few people are dying. That's the whole point. 1.4 million people die of malaria every year. 1.4 to 1.7 million people die worldwide of malaria every year. We don't shut down the economy. We don't shut down the world. There's a political issue here, folks, and I don't want to get into politics, but politics has gotten into my backyard. Kids are starving. That's my backyard. You know, my people can't function in their jobs. We can't move the girls in their new home in Nepal. We can't add additional girls to that home. We can't rescue girls from sex trafficking as long as the government has the shutdown in place, and the shutdown is in place for the wrong reasons. It's all political, and yes, there are a few people getting sick, but most of those people are getting better, particularly if they're not put on a ventilator. And so these countries are competing for foreign aid dollars, and those foreign aid dollars will never help the poor. The food that has been distributed in Uganda, most of it has been polluted with rocks or mold, and is designed to be essentially a counterfeit bag of food. So it looks like they're handing out food, but they're not really handing out food. Somebody has put that money in their pockets, and this systemic political corruption has been, like I said, elevated to an art form in these countries. It's very simple, folks. If we don't act right now, our pantries in Nepal, our pantries in Nagaland, our pantries in Uganda will be empty. Not only will we have kids hungry, we're going to have staff hungry. We're going to have the people who work for us are going to be hungry. And we're responsible for feeding close to 1,000 people a day around the world. And so if you can help us, I would really appreciate that. If you'll go to godloveskids.org, that's godloveskids.org, or you can text God Loves Kids, all one word, to 77977 to help today. So if you help today, if you send some money today, and if you send $100 or more, I'm going to send you a gift as a thank you. I'm going to send you a couple of my dad's books. He didn't write them, but they were written about him. And one of them is his sermon series. I'm going to send you my dad's book, or we'll send you something to say thank you if you send $100 or more. But if you send $100 or more today, that money will be sent to Uganda by Wednesday. It will buy food by Thursday, and you will be able to see the distribution of that food on our Facebook page by Friday. You'll be able to see pictures. You'll be able to see food distribution. You will know that where the money you have given. You know, there was a guy here who set up in Rockwall on a pontoon boat that he was raising water for wells. Okay, and he raised $2 or $3 million, and then he went to Austin and did the same thing. I can tell you that I've been on his website. I don't see $2 million worth of wells being dug, ever. I've not seen $100,000 worth of wells to be dug, to be honest with you. To me, it looked like a sham. And the one thing I can tell you, the one thing you should know by now, is that we are over 45 years old as an organization, and we do what we say we're going to do, and we do it consistently. Every time we raise money, we do what we say we're going to do, and we do it. It may take us longer, it may cost us more, but when we commit to a project, we will complete that project, and we will see that project through. And right now, the project is just to feed some people. Now, in addition to that, we've got microfarms going in. Well, we're going to install another microfarm this week. We're going to install another rabbit hutch this week, God willing. We have experts on site who are teaching farming techniques. We're going to be planting moringa trees throughout the community of Lutembe, teaching them how to harvest this tree, teaching them how to use this tree in their food to increase their vitamins, to increase their minerals, to increase amino acids, to increase protein absorption through the combination of rice and beans and moringa. Makes protein 30% more accessible than just rice and beans alone. So we have in a community children who are suffering. They're suffering in Lutembe, Uganda. We believe that God has given us a strategy to help this community, but that strategy includes some long-term solutions that we were trying to enact, and we've been working on for a long time, but we've been trying to move that out beyond our four walls because we're called to the community. You know, we have a home in Nepal, and that home rescues girls from sex trafficking. That home is not designed to be an outreach to the community, although we had a church for a while until they made that illegal. So we had this home in Nepal. We have an outreach in Nagaland that is multifaceted. But my responsibility in Nagaland does not extend to the community that the work in Nagaland is based in. Okay? That's the director's job. That's his calling. That's not my calling. My calling is to help him to come alongside. We created this training center and other things that are there, and to help him with that. But I don't feel called to reach out and do outreach to the community. That's the director's job. That's his calling. I'm going to let him run with that. But I feel a direct call from God to bring transformation to the community of Lutembe, Uganda. God sent us there to that community to set the stage for total transformation. And we're seeing that take place. We're seeing hundreds of people saved during this time. We're seeing people who are wanting to be baptized, people who are being delivered from the occult and witchcraft, and converting from witchcraft to becoming born again believers who know God as their perfect Father. And so, yes, our mission extends beyond the walls of the campus, and we can't let the children of Lutembe starve. We can't let the widows of Lutembe go without. We have to have compassion for single parent moms. One of the greatest regrets I have from my pastoral days was that I didn't take better care of the single parent moms in my church. Well, I'm not going to let that happen again. Never, ever, ever. We're going to take a stand to help single parent moms in a community just as if they were widows. And beyond that, if we have enough funds, we're going to take care of the entire church community as much as possible, and then we'll look at more outreach to the local community of Lutembe. But we need your help, and what you help with today, what you do today, will be used, and you'll see the results on Friday. So if you can help us, go to godloveskids.org. That's godloveskids.org, or you can push pay your gift by texting God Loves Kids, all one word, all lowercase, to 77977. That's godloveskids.org, or push pay God Loves Kids to 77977. One of the fastest and easiest way to give. So we need funds now, and we'll be buying food every week in order to meet those weekly needs. I cannot spend money on food that is not given to us over and above our normal operating cost. Okay, it costs us a certain amount of money, and we need a certain amount of donations, our normal donations, to fulfill what we're doing in Uganda. Normally we wire close to $3,000 every week to Uganda to take care of all the needs of that work. Okay, we have money that goes to Nepal every week. We have money that goes to Nagaland, and so all those things have to be taken care of. What is over and above that, I want to use, particularly if you designate it, hey, I want to feed hungry kids, we'll feed hungry kids. You know, even if we can't make budget, we'll feed the hungry kids. All you have to do is designate the funds that you send to feed hungry kids. And we need to feed hungry kids now. We don't need to feed them in the future. We know, we're not raising money on TV and then a month from now or 2 months from now or 3 months from now, the food will show up. I'm talking about you give now, and by tomorrow, I'm going to send money to Uganda, and we'll include all that's been given today, and then we'll buy food and we'll distribute food, and you'll see the results of your giving on Friday. And then on Friday, I'm going to talk about it all over again. And if you'll give again, we'll buy food on Tuesday, and you can see it on Friday all over again. So Mondays and Fridays, we're going to come and we're going to do warfare to feed hungry children. We're going to do warfare to bring transformation to these communities. And we're going to see God do a miracle here. He's already done miracles. We've already distributed well over 50,000 pounds of food. And that's not what we normally do. We're talking about 50,000 pounds of food over and above what we normally do. And we've already done that during COVID-19. Bess and I were sick for about a month. We did not have the virus. We may have had something. I think it was Rip Van Winkle's disease. We just wanted to sleep and sleep and sleep, but tested negatively, thank God. But the bottom line is that we're back, and we have to be back hard. We've got to push hard. Your pastor gets up and takes an offering every Sunday morning. He'll get up Wednesday night and take an offering every Wednesday night. If I have to take an offering every day from now until the end of the year, I'm going to do it, because it's a life or death issue, folks. That's the bottom line. It's life or death. I don't talk this way normally, but kids are starving. They're really starving, and people are without food, and they're going to be hurt. And we're going to have to bury some people if we don't feed them. That's the new reality. You want to talk about a new reality? The new reality for me is not wearing a mask into Costco's. The new reality for me is not wearing a mask into a restaurant, then pulling it off, leaving it off the entire time I'm eating, and then putting it back on maybe to walk out the door. That's not the new reality for me. The new reality for me is that 10,000 more children a month are dying than were dying a year ago because of a political stunt, now known as COVID-19. I can't help the fact that politicians are being politicians. I can't help the fact that there's a bunch of heartless cretins out there doing this to the world. But I can do something about it with your help. We can feed needy children with your help. We need funds now. We will be buying food every single week in order to meet these needs. And then what you have to understand is that this essentially, in order to really do it right, this means that we have to raise twice as much money every month as we've been raising in the past. Twice as much. And there's been a while there that when I received this ministry, I received it with $270 in the bank account. We've been through a real tough time after my father died, and then my mom had broken her hip, and things were very difficult. And so I wasn't handed this ministry with $100,000 in the bank or $1 million in the bank. There was $270 in the bank, and payroll had to be paid the next day. And thank you, Red Dixon, a former board member of ours. Thank you, Red. Thank you, Loretta. Thank you, Dixon family, for all that you've done to stand behind God Loves Kids. But Red, you handed me a $5,000 check that day, and I appreciate that. I appreciate your friendship, but that meant more to me than you will ever know, because it had confirmed to me that this was God's deal, and God was in charge, and God would take care of us, and God would provide. And you were used by God that day to make that happen. Others have been used by God to make this happen right now, here today. And I couldn't sit behind this microphone with the confidence that I have now if one of our other board members hadn't stepped to the plate, one of our friends hadn't stepped to the plate over the last few days and really given sizable donations that enable me to stand here and say, God is faithful. You can trust him, and he's going to meet our needs according to his riches and glory. And I'm excited about what God is doing. And so if you will give us money by the end of the day today, it will be in Uganda, it will be in Nepal, it will be in Nagaland, India before Friday. And it'll be feeding a hungry kid before Friday. In fact, it'll probably be there by Wednesday afternoon. Did you hear that? If you give money today, it'll be in these countries halfway around the world. As soon as we can process it through, it'll be there feeding kids. And so you can do that by going to godloveskids.org. That's godloveskids.org, or God Loves Kids, all one word, text to 77977. So I just want to thank you for being patient with me. I hope that you understand that I'm being as genuine and real as I possibly can. I was in tears last week. It was so painful to know the need and not have any resources to fill it. I mean, it was incredibly painful. So I'm going to sit here with boldness and ask people to help us, because I can't stand the other way around. I can't stand looking at an empty bank account and someone saying we're starving to death and children are starving to death, and us not having the resources to do what God's called us to do. So I'm going to keep telling His people, we need your help. We need your help. We need your help, and we need it today.